Hey everyone, today I'm working on a classic Mustang. It came in with a power draw. The owner was saying that the battery kept dying. He's replaced it several times and it just keeps dying. Now he doesn't drive the car too often, but whenever I originally checked it, it did have quite a bit of an amperage draw. Now how you do that is you get your multimeter. I usually use the negative cable and then I hook up the negative wire to the negative side and then I hook up the red wire to the leading cable. That way your meter reads on the positive side. Now right here you can see how I've got the multimeter set up. I've got it on the DC 4 amps, which you can see right there that I've got it down to that point right there. Whenever I first started, it was like 3 amps, which is way too much. That's 3,000 milliamps. So the main thing that was drawing most of the amperage was the fusible link that was going to the fuel pump relay. It has electric fuel pump on it, and the main power going to the relay had a fusible link before it that was supposed to trip and reset itself if for some reason it got overloaded, but it was shorted out and it's pulling all that power. So I put a new one in and it took away most of the amperage draw that was on the system. Now after I got done with the fuel pump short, I came up to the engine compartment and I found that the amp meter loop that was running up in the engine compartment, this car doesn't have a amp meter, so the wire was just left in the harness all the way up to the front. Now that wire hooks into the alternator, the main power, and you can see over here I removed all this wiring from the car and you can see that it's tapped in different places. It has the amp meter wire and then it has another wire right here. Now I removed all that wire and ended up just looping the alternator straight back to the main fuse, and then that goes to the main power. Once I did that, that took away a couple of amps also. The next thing that I did was I started pulling the fuses, which on this one it has a painless harness in it and it's down underneath there. And I pretty much started to pull everything. There's a couple different ways that you can do it. Mainly like this one, you can start pulling the fuses till you see it drop. And I'll show you right here on the painless wiring. Right there on the right side, the third number 10 on the right. Whenever I pull it, let me see if I can get underneath here and pull it while. Now, I had went through every one of them just to see. Let's see. Okay, so right there I pulled it and you can see that it's dropped a lot, which the amount that it is right now is pretty acceptable. It really, even with the radio, it wasn't pulling that much. It was, what was it, 26. So, normally you can go up to like 50 milliamps or something. It just really depends. I mean, the more that you pull, if you don't drive your car, it's going to run the battery down quicker and you'll need to put a maintainer on it. But you basically just want to go through each fuse and pull it. You can see that third one on the right there. I just pulled it and how it drops. So sometimes you have multiple things that are pulling, and if that's the case, then you'll need to leave the one out that you pulled, that it dropped on, and then start pulling other ones to see if it drops again. Now in these cars it's pretty easy to find out the alternator is what's doing your pull, because with it connected you can just disconnect the alternator wire, which this one happens to be just a one wire hookup. So you just disconnect it there and see if the voltage drops or the amperage drops on it, and if it does, then that could be a source of a draw for you. Also remember, you do need to have all your doors closed. If there's any lights that come on whenever your doors open up, your courtesy lamp or your trunk. The battery on this one's actually in the back, so I just took the bulb out of the deck lid while I had the trunk lid open, and then I've got a block of wood right here that's pressing onto the switch, because if you watch right here, whenever I take that block of wood out, all of a sudden it pulls almost a full amp of power. So make sure that you have your multimeter set on the amperage that's able to handle, because right here I've got mine on 4 amps, so if you go over the 4 amps on here, you could actually mess up your multimeter. So be careful whenever you're opening up your doors, whenever you're doing these tests. Now I did go through to make sure all the wiring was good and didn't have any breaks in it, all the way up to the radio itself. So it's just a radio that's pulling a little bit of power, but You know, like I said, on that much power going from the 12 to the 27 right there, that's really not a lot. And just to explain to you a little bit about the power, you know, it's on amps right now. So basically, 1 amp is 1,000 milliamps. So if you have 0.5, then you would have 500 milliamps. All the way down, you know, 0.1 would be 100 milliamps, and then it breaks it down further to where this is basically 27 milliamps. You just don't want to have more than about 0.05 milliamps of pull. If you get up around 100 milliamps, then that's quite a bit of power that you're pulling just sitting still, and will actually, you know, kill your battery pretty quickly. Now I've seen some battery float maintainers put out like 800 milliamps, which is basically just under 1 amp. It would be, you know, 0.8 on the meter right here. And then some of them could be 1200 milliamps or 1500 milliamps or even 2000 milliamps. If you have one that says 2000 milliamps, and whenever you check the amperage, it should be, you know, 2.0 amps. Now, if you check your battery draw on this one, just say that you get 800 milliamp maintainer, but you have a 0.027 draw or whatever it is, then, you know, basically this is, you know, 26 milliamps, and you put an 800 milliamp charger on there, then it should have no issues maintaining the battery at all. Now, if it was, just say that this was pulling 1 amp, like, you know, whenever I open up the door, turn on the lights, you know, if you had an 800 milliamp maintainer with this, then it would draw the battery still. It would still run the battery down because you're pulling almost a full amp. It's 0.989. So if you have a 800 milliamp maintainer, your battery's still going to run down. Even a 1 amp maintainer, 1000 milliamp, it's just too close. It's going to take forever. It's going to basically stay the same and not recharge. So you'll have to get a bigger maintainer, a 1400 milliamp or even a 2000 milliamp, in order to give it enough power to charge the battery back up and keep it maintained. But if you end up having that much power draw, then you probably want to disconnect whatever's drawing it. Like if you have a stereo system or whatever that's drawing that much power to where the maintainer can't keep up, you probably want to disconnect that if you plan on storing your car long term. So hopefully I didn't confuse you there. Everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different. You know, newer cars are different than older cars. Sometimes you just got to be patient and track down what is drawing the power. But other than that, thanks for watching my video today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for me. Like it, share it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching again, everyone.